Good evening. First of all, thank you Remote, thank you Chapada, thanks all of you to be here, and thank to Cerrado, this beautiful biome we are now in. So I'm going to be really emotional, starting with my childhood. So I was raised here, looking this landscape, and this landscape actually is in Croatian on the Adriatic Sea. At the time, my parents were directing some hotels, and I spent my childhood playing here, smelling this sea, these trees, being connected with this place. So I thought, like, okay, I can build some tree houses here, I could have some fun. So my childhood was all about being there, being that kind of operation, but being free. And that sensation, like, keeping me, like, all my life. This idea that actually building spaces is about building relations. So building relation, architecture is about building relations. So when I've been studying in Venice, architecture, pretty traditional, like classical architecture, but there's always something about heavy buildings, big buildings, architecture as something that protects us from nature, that separates us from nature. Something was really wrong in that sense. Now, so I all the time believe, but it's all about relations. Architecture is about relation with me, relation with the environment, relation with the ecosystem, relation with my constellation of beloved ones. So everything is interconnected, and that sensation architecture was not working until I started to research more about, but okay, is there any other way to do architecture? This is an image from Hundenwasser. He's an Austrian architect. I really like this definition, how he defined different skins. We have like 5 skins. From our skin, epidermis, clothing, housing, identity, earth. So it's like a membranes, permeable membranes, that you can fly through them. So I believe that our body is our first home. Our body is our first home. I've been living 1 year in Costa Rica, more than 20 years ago, and that's something really changed my mind, understanding that actually architecture is not something that needs to protect me, it's something that needs to create a dialogue between me and the surrounding, between me and myself as well. So it's like a portal. Architecture is like a portal with me, with the ecosystem. So it's like a way where I can connect. It's not a barrier, it's like an interface. And when we grow from that another skin, so in architecture we grow more. What is our final body? What is our final home? It's a planet Earth, it's a biosphere. So everything is permeable. Architecture is just like a speck in that kind of relations. So relation, we relate with the world through our senses. And like this Merleau-Ponty definition that we choose a world and the worlds choose us. So this kind of phenomenological perception that we are changed by the environment. We are not like an enclosed identity. You know? We are like part of everything. And my personal connection with nature is more between the ecstatic and aesthetic relation. I really like this idea that we design experiences in architecture all the time. All of you design your surrounding, but your surrounding design you. And that's an ecstatic and aesthetic relation. It's like, it's all the time dialoguing how you see the world and how the world see you. This is our presentation of our office. We are like a practice, architecture practice, like a small middle business, done 50 architects in different areas. And our research starts always in a project through these 3 main areas, like biomimetics. Biomimetics is like a methodology, how nature do, how we can learn from nature and apply that to our process design. Not only in architecture, apply biomimetics in apprenticeships, in different areas, like how nature do. Nature as a master, model, as a mentor, how we can learn from it. Phenomenology, how natural phenomena affect us and how our senses perceive those phenomena, how we can be blended and molded by the sensation. And behaviorology, behavior, how people behave, how non-human people as well behave, other beings behave, and what are the social and cultural construction they are living in and that expresses in architecture. It's just every period in time, architecture expresses its social, economical, political moments. So it's like a language. It's like to be read and to be talked through. That project here, in fact, what you're seeing here was more than 10 years ago in Milano. We designed the Brazilian pavilion together with Studio Artur Casas, and the idea was how we can express different biomes in one architecture, how we can bring sensations of sounds, of smells, of different touches, different way of expressing what is the most complex in Brazil and what is the most strong. Sensations, how Brazil best communicates through feelings. There is like all the time it's about feelings. So how you express feelings in architecture and architecture in feelings. So Brazil is a unique constellation of biomes. There are 6 biomes. Actually, there is no any place in the world with 6 biomes. And there are different regions between biomes. So it's like an infinity of organism. It's a laboratory of innovation, of design innovation. Each species, each situation, its relations are really complex, are really unique. And again, like for me, biomes expresses different codex of how we can talk about the biomes, how we can understand them through aesthetic and ecstatic perception. So the Amazon, you can feel it in different ways. So actually, I came to Brazil through the Amazon forest, giving workshops there, and it was always like, when I get in a forest, the forest gets in me. It's something so strong and so deep, and you can feel that. It's fluid, the reflections, you can feel how it's embed you, how it grows in you, the colors, the green. It's really different, the Amazon green than the Mata Atlantica green. It's very different. And the plants, and how you see the deepness of the forest, so how you move, how you walk through the forest, how you step, what is the reaction with the floor on your feet. So it's completely multisensorial. So you can express that, you can be inspired by that and use that in your design process. And humanity expresses that on cultural levels, in different forms, in different shapes, from design to how inhabit those biomes. In this case, how this fluidity is expressed in everyday life. You go to Cerrado, a super rich biome. Actually, you can see it really dry, but underneath it's all water. So it's like a fundamental biome for Brazil to keep alive all the other biomes. And again, what we can extract from here, so many things. There's infinity of expression, phenomenological and biomimetical expression we can get through that and be touched by that. It's strong, the textures, the contrast is, no, how it blossomed, the colors, the yellow, the pink, they're really strong. And all that expresses as well in how humanity built in those regions, which kind of architecture is built, which kind of texture is used. Caatinga, I love Caatinga, it's one of my biggest crashes in my life. It's about resilience. Caatinga is about resilience. It changes all the time. You see it in one color, then it means like, you see why, it's like so dry. No, but it's so green. No, it's so yellow. There's so many butterflies. So you see how nature changes. Ever-changing biome is so rich. And again, in this biome, the architectures, the culture, the local handcraft is completely different. You can go Ilha do Ferro, you can add some regions, and you can find so colorful things. It's completely different than from other regions of Brazil. There is no one Brazil in that sense. It's so diverse. It's so rich. And then you can, but why you cannot find, for example, in those regions like a really unique hotel? I'm really like, they all look pretty the same. They don't look like Trancoso, you know. You can go to Alagoas and the hotel will look like super Trancoso hotel. Why is not more local? Why is no, like more researching more the local material, the local tradition, the local. So we can have a coast with thousands of different languages of architecture and different experience and different accommodations. So it's so everything to be still built, explored, and to value local traditions, to value what people do, and people do a lot in Brazil. Pantanal, again, completely different biome, completely different experiences, transparency, the blue is different, the deepness, how it changed the landscape through the time, how those geometries change in micro and macro world. Mata Atlantica, where we live into, is something really like attractive, it's sensual, it's touchy, it's something that goes really with micro and macro. You can see it from a plane, and the same texture is on most. It really repeats the patterns. The patterns go through scale to scale. Pampa, again, another word, completely another word, little known for its richness, for its ecosystem, but it had this gramínea, this like floating lightness. So each biome, it's a word. And one project we worked in that sense was this collection for a brand for finishings, and we were researching for a long time how we can express those biomes in different objects that can be placed inside the city. So how kind of biophilia go in the cities, and people like to respect and to love the biomes in the cities and want to visit them and even to have some connection with them. So it's about touch, it's about color, it's about reflection, it's about textures, so different ways that we can express those biomes in products as well. So this was a project we worked on for 2 years, how we can express biomes in finishing elements. But I will go further, we have little time. So architecture amplifies our senses and generates reality. It's like when we amplify our senses, reality comes. And reality actually is like the coherent flow of our sensations, of our feelings. And in that sense, we can create different kind of surroundings and environments to bring that to light. I will pass through few projects, few concepts, really fast one, in that I believe in architecture it's really important. So seeds of change. Architecture is about change and how we implement those architectures in space. In this case, in this project, we are placing the objects like they're like seeds, they're like growing. And each element is inspired by a seed. Seed, it's like a time capsule, no? Fruits and seeds are time capsule of life. So how this, a human can open its heart, can blossom inside this seed when a time comes. There are no walls, rigid walls, strong walls, about membranes. It's like you're like connected with the environment. You're feeling the environment. And you have different situations like the horizontal, vertical, how you see the horizontal landscape, but as well the vertical forest. And all the construction in this case, prefab, mobile, it's like plug and play, touch the earth gently, coming to the place, installing this kind of object. Horizontal, vertical accommodation, and the idea of being involved is something. I believe curvature is something really subconsciously important for us to sleep, to be involved. You have like in a cave, like in a leaf. This is like a common place, a common house inspired by Rio Negro indigenous architecture, but as well by by contemporary materials of creating this kind of big place, and a house of transformation, a practicing place. Architecture is about transformation, transforming. Actually, that operation of the hotel that should be ready next year in Rio Negro, it comes first with the schools. We built 12 schools in the region. The 12 schools, we build them together with the community. And what has to do? It has everything to do. It's about education. So it's not only about the hotel operation, it's about the school, it's about organizing the logistics, it's about transforming the region, and the region transform you. This school, inspired by as well traditional Ribeirinha architecture, was customized by kids. They could draw on it, was made only with local material, is maintained by local community, and is built by local community. These are like Escolas do Rio Negro, 12 schools, and few of them under construction. And finally, as well, in the same concept, we are redesigning this hotel boat with 12 rooms, and it's blending in the landscape, an idea that you have to interconnect everything. Even in the Amazon, such a big region, so it's not about the place, it's about the territory, how you relate with the territory, social and cultural way. I'll pass through another project about narrative process, so how we design, how we think about narrative process, about the master plan, how we bring a project to the land in the region, pretty dense project. In this case, it was inspired by the submarine life, about the corals. We want to talk in Alagoas about the corals. This is Caatinga biome. And about corals, we have different species, we're inspired by the species, we create our models, and by the model we find the color, the materials of the region, try to find what is the most authentic there in that region, and how we can learn about handcraft, the colors, the different textures, the different kind of natural materials that you can embed in our project. Even like local design. We don't want a project 100% made in Brazil, actually 100% grown in Brazil. So everything, from the furniture to the materials, everything should come from that region. That's something really authentic, that's really strong. And how we can express that idea in a space. So this is the reception, the 5 elements, how we bring the people in that kind of environment, the construction, we are working with the local materials, and it's a pretty dense operation. You see how it's colorful? Because Alagoas is super colorful. We want to bring colors. We want to bring something really different from all the other operations in that region. They're like pretty kind safe. We don't want to play safe. We want to play the feelings. We want to play everything that Alagoas can express. Pretty dense accommodation, 50 accommodation, but we can vary different species of accommodation, different models, creating different private entrances, private gardens, little pools, little area that you can hide. So even in such a density, all built in hyper adobe, earth techniques, we can bring privacy and And as well to have your private moments, like this the bathrooms are this like private spa. You watch the sky, little bit Balinese mood in a sense of connecting with nature, even like the private villas. We are designing all these elements inspired by the sea. I will pass fast through those images. And other elements, the spa as well, this kind of hammam, again bringing that kind of mood of the 5 elements. Walk on the water and how they manifest in a space. So connection with nature in all its moments, like the event space, the restaurants, the bar, inspired by these anemonas, this like really lightweight element coming out from the water. And finally, the relation with the beach. I think it's so important to be really hidden, to really respect the skyline of the beach, and as well the Caatinga, really important ecosystem of this kind of vegetation, really typical from the sea. So how you are really discreet and can relate with the seaside. And surely farm to table, always. So ancestral futurism, I like this concept. So it's about, we talk about future, we talk about past. The past and the future coexist. So we cannot talk about future, we cannot design futures if we don't nourish ancestrality or past. And Brazil, it's about great knowledge in ancestral architecture and communities. So indigenous community in Brazil, it's like the most richest relation with each biome you can have. Each region is different, each architecture is different, and they're all super locally attuned, bioclimatic, really comfortable to live in. So we really get inspired by this to design our architecture projects using other materials. So we talk about future, nourishing and respecting ancestrality. So in this project, like being inspired by the Surini house. In this other project, I spent the time in Ashaninka village in Llorencatamé, in Apiucha, in the Acre. I really loved to understand how some architecture worked with time, not with space. At our home, you spend like 8 hours in one room, 8 hours in another room, 2 hours in one room. Hey, but you're not using your house 24 hours all the space. So in this house, we create an architecture that you can like bring your stuffs and hide them on your back, and then you close, you use it, transform it. So how the house is more related in time than in space. Touch the earth gently. Touch the earth gently. Architecture could be a really, really cruel and really heavy thing. And then the land answers you in that way. The dreams come back to you. So you need to be gentle, and gentleness come back to you. So how the architecture be light and gentle, and like just like touch the earth with gentleness and with love. Grow as a tree, another thing. Why you need to take away trees to have a view? Why your architecture is not a view to the trees, so you can grow vertically. This house, there was no any tree took off, and it was like adapted to the land, inspired by Jussara tree. Jussara tree have this kind of roots that adapt to changing slopes. So this house as well. So no any violence was done to the land, no any earth was took away, no any tree. So it's just like placed between the trees. So there's the house. So you're living as a tree inside. Another place that I like this idea of a house being small from outside, they being from inside. So, I mean, you are like from inside you have a view, really strong view. So it's like from inside it's big, but from outside it's a hideaway. It's disappear in the landscape. So from inside you have a beautiful view, but from outside actually you do not see this house. So I like this idea that from inside the houses could be really huge, but from outside they just blend in the landscape. This is good music. So this project, it's a retreat center, and it's part of some of the forest houses you see before. And the idea that architecture actually is a place for transformation in the forest. This is a forest temple, all built in bamboo. And it's coordinated with those houses in a kind of traditional way of getting lost and find yourself in a forest. This is all done with local materials, actually, all the bamboo structures. It's inspired by ancient architecture, not only Brazilian, I could say by ancient architecture from different regions. And finally, I'm showing you this project. This is a proposal for expansion of a museum of Musa in Manaus. It's already an existing museum, and we are proposing to expand it, archaeology museum, to expand it and to transform it in a place that actually connect the public to the forest. So why about what archaeology has to do with forest? Well, the latest discovery in the Amazon, archaeology showed that there was a huge civilization living there. So there was not only the Incas, Mayas, Aztecs, there was like a huge civilization in the Amazon. And that civilization do not have pyramids, do not have big architecture. And you know what is the biggest architecture, the biggest monument we have from those civilizations is our forest. Because actually it was eventually from 20 to 30% planted. So there was like an agroforestry community, agroforestry civilization living together with the forest, inside the forest. Is that like future? Is that something we want to live with? We want to live in Brazil, we want to live in a forest, together with the forest, together with human and non-human people, together. Is that resilient? Is it like immersive? Is that something that can keep us going in abundance as human species? So this idea that you can show archaeology through showing a catwalk through the forest and going from space to space, talking about ancestrality and talking about the future. So talking about how we lived and how we could live and we should live together with the forest, inside the forest. So this museum is about archaeology, but what it has to do with actually tourism, or what has to do with something that is attracted to the region? Well, I really like the idea of scientific tourism. That's something that really attracted me. So how to think about different kind of behavior of tourism. So it's not only going to the Amazon, you have different ways, or in any other region in Brazil, different ways to come to. What is your attitude? What is your purpose? But one of the purposes is to learn, I think, to get transformed with, and to know more about it. So archaeology, it's something really strong in the Amazon, not only in the Amazon, in all Brazil, and it's something that brings other kind of relations with the environment and a kind of relation with the purpose of your travel. And it's not only about the place. So in this case, like, okay, it's like a museum, but it's about the operation as well. So from those museums, why is not that museum eventually is like a pit stop, like an expedition point from where you go with solar boats, and then eventually you visit the archaeological sites and you have the guides. So the guides are being trained, the archaeologists are being trained as the guides. So it's open completely wide a new horizon, what I believe could be architecture as portals, not only in accommodation, but in museums, in operations, is designing the system of how we can relate to territory, to the social and to the environmental territory, working together. So nature, it's culture. I believe that nature is a culture in Brazil. It's not this like nature-culture dichotomy, Eurocentric perception that nature is nature, culture is culture. No, nature is a culture in Brazil. And when we see, I love this image for 72, no? the blue marble. When you see this, how not to think that this is alive? Isn't alive, right? It's like an organism. It's breathing, it's moving, it's auto-regulating. It's an organism made of billions of trillions of other organisms, as the forest is. It's a superorganism. It's like a decentralized, super intelligent being. So we are connected from the planet to the forest, the trees, connecting with other beings underneath, on top of it. And when we go to our body, to our organism, we are like walking communities. We are made by billions of bacteria. So we're not like individuals, we are individuals. We are completely divisible. We are like multiples. We are completely made of different identities or different organisms. So we are like walking communities. And when you go deeper, even in like subconscious psychotropic experiences of connecting with nature, you see that all that is a big dialogue. It's a big connection. So it's about relations. Everything is about relation. I believe from macro to micro, from architecture to nature, it's about relations with us, with other beings. I like this image because it showed that everything is about change in nature. We are in this moment, no? And change is part of nature. Everything was changing, always was changing, and always will change. But the humans have a great ability to adapt to changes. So we can adapt to change. We don't need to fight the forces against nature. Architecture don't need to protect us. It needs to connect us with nature. And I believe that kind of connection, creating spaces, creating environments, creating experiences that connect human with nature could permit us to evolve our perception of consciousness. So evolution of consciousness consciousness from 70 to 80,000 years ago, from the centralized to decentralized, to interconnected, and I believe to the ecological consciousness. Everything we are doing in that direction. So I hope this inspires you, and we are together. Thank you.